Oh dear, Meghan Markle has been accused of faking her St. Patrick's Day waffles after royal fans noticed something weird about them. Take a closer look at these green waffles, which people are arguing she didn't make in that particular waffle maker shown because the pattern is all wrong. If you look closely, you can see that the waffle on the plate didn't have the same pattern as the one in the maker, which would allow you to create a waffle that's divided into 4 sections. And the waffle kind of resembled a green version of our late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. On purpose? Probably. She posted the video of her shamrock green holiday-themed breakfast to celebrate Ireland's patron saint with her family on Instagram. Some people suggested that maybe she did a different one for her kids, but I doubt it. She probably didn't make them herself at all. She filmed herself whisking up a lurid mixture before then pouring it into a steaming hot black cast iron waffle maker and declaring that the Sussexes love a theme. Meghan has also revealed her new lifestyle brand, As Ever, is being hit with trademark issues. Sound familiar? She doesn't seem to be able to get anything right. The previous name, America Riviera Orchard, apparently limited what she was able to sell as it was linked to an area. So that didn't go well. That appears to have been shelved. Then, of course, with Love Meghan. What a disaster, and very revealing. There's a bit where she takes pretzels out of their original bag to put them into a plastic pretzel bag with a personalised label. She does this so that she can show her guests that she is thinking about them, saying, "This we're just going to put into a different bag." She then secures the pretzels in the bag with a neat string bow. I'm sorry, but if one of my mates did that, I would tell them to get out more. Seriously, too much time on her hands. She then labels the bag to say the contents contain nuts, even though she knows her friend hasn't got a nut allergy. How very considerate. Why doesn't she just leave them in the original bag? All the ingredients are listed. She's mad. I suspect these are actually for imaginary friends. It's sad because the Americans are having a field day at her expense. Once seen as the darlings of the US, the sympathy for the pair has pretty much all but evaporated. Unfortunately, what Meghan failed to acknowledge was the love that the Americans have for our late Queen, and she could not have anticipated the cancer diagnoses and how affection would grow for Catherine and William in the US after all of that. Speaking of the US, Harry's visa details have been revealed, although half the stuff has been redacted. Maybe Trump is holding on to it as a bargaining chip. Time will tell. Well, joining me now is Angela Levin to tell us more. Angela Levin joins me now. Angela, let's talk about Meghan Markle. Season 2 of With Love. There's another one of them.
Yeah. Well, there's 3. You have to jug them all very carefully, don't you? I mean, there's As Ever, With Love, Meghan, and Confessions of a Female Founder.
Did you watch the full first one, the first series?
I did. I sat there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12:30 in the afternoon. I nearly died because I thought, this is what I'm doing to earn my living. It was so dreadful. It was so boring. And you couldn't see that it had worked together. You know, usually people do it like this thing goes with that thing and this thing. But it was all over the place. 1 minute is learning how to blow balloons when there's no children there. And the next minute it's making spaghetti. And the next minute it's sprinkling. And you don't know where you are. It's got no following. And I think this, because she was the in-chief of the whole thing, this is what you do if you think you know how to do something and you don't have the experience and you don't know. Because most people, it fits together. This was a complete mess, as was what she was making. I'm very sorry to say this, but it was absolutely shocking.
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me, and that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks. And you can too! So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today.
Didn't she make some waffles, these green waffles? And one of them, if you look at it really closely, it looks like she's trying to mimic the Queen, our late Queen.
That's what I saw yesterday, and I suggested you got the picture because, you know that she likes to be rude about the Queen, even though she's now dead. That's Queen Elizabeth, not Queen Camilla. This was too shocking for words because it's the white hair, and she's really thinking the whole of the royal family are stupid. But you can't actually say to her, now, Meghan, is that the late Queen? Because, I didn't realise. I don't believe. I think it was done deliberately. Do you remember when she did the curtsy and she bent over and she got the giggles because it was so funny to say, Your Majesty, she put on a silly voice. She was very rude then. This is another way of doing it. She did it for St. Patrick's Day, and it was green. The waffle was green. I can't think of anybody doing anything more unkind and spiteful. But she's very clever. She's very cunning because you can't do anything because she'd immediately say, what? Oh, I didn't realise. And I know, I can't say 100%, but you think, what is she doing here? This picture, this waffle looks exactly like someone taking the mickey out of the late Queen. So people who don't think so, fair enough. But I think...
Yeah. I'm sure she might say, oh, no, it's just that this is how it just came out. And
it's the cunningness. It's the cunningness.
But it would be obvious if no one in her camp would have seen that and perhaps suggested that if it was that way was a bit of a bad idea. But hey, that is Meghan Markle. To be honest, it seems like she's lost the plot, if I'm totally honest. It's like, to me, it's a bit crazy. It's a bit manic. There are so many weird elements of it. Like where she takes the pretzels out of their original bag, and then she puts them in another bag, and then she labels it saying that it contains peanuts, but the person she's labelled it for, she knows hasn't got a nut allergy. And it's like, and she ties it with a little bow. It's like, who does that? Who takes crisps out of a bag or pretzels? Because as soon as you open them, they then start to go off. That's the beginning of it. Putting them in, it's just, what a waste. She's got too much time in her hands.
Well, I think it's that she hasn't got very much experience, actually. She said she doesn't like baking. And there was a couple of cakes. So somebody else did it, but she was very good at cutting it through and putting raspberries there. It's all bits. She doesn't know how to do things, but she's desperate to return to Tig. And if you remember, that was the thing she had before Harry, where she sold some drink and what dress you should wear and what a cushion would be very nice. And she said so many times, particularly now, that she's so relieved that she can now get back to her Tig. They took it away from her. They took away all her ability to create. So she's blaming the royal family. After 5 years, she's been away living in luxury. And you think, what are you talking about? Because you don't know what you're doing. The women who do these wonderful cooking things, and even ordinary people who go along to show what they like to cook, it gives you a taste of what you want. There was not a thing that you wanted there to eat. But what she was obsessed with and going through all the time was sprinkling sprinkles on donuts and fruit and everything. But actually, I think that children, my experience of all my children, but they don't like little bits and pieces of colour. And they think, oh, what's this? What's that? You know, it's not going to the right people for the right thing. And then it jumps to something else.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. And that's because she doesn't listen. You know, she could do better if she actually listened, but she won't because she thinks she's the best person of doing it. She's now the CEO of her own life. And I think if you can good at something, it doesn't mean you're good at everything. But I think that's what she's doing.
Maybe she likes the look of her hands doing the sprinkling. You know, she likes to look at her fingers doing the sprinkle, 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 sprinkle.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. Let's move on to the podcast now, Meghan's
Yes.
OK podcast. What has she got left to tell us in this?
Pardon?
Well, what has she got left to tell us in this?
No,
What's it about?
no. It's nothing to do with us. She's got these young women who are into business. And she's a businesswoman, she says. I don't think she is, but she is. Everything she's done, she's failed so far. But she says, I want to talk to them about what they do. I can take some very helpful tips of what, you know, how to get everything very well done. And you think, well, you know, not again, you know, snitch it out of other people. And she's going to talk to, if you remember that she did try to do that before, and she got the sack because she just talked only about herself. I cannot see her actually listening to all these different women about herself. Unless she's talking about herself. I actually want to tell them everything. She doesn't really want to listen. And the thing is, she's also stolen the headline of it. There's a young woman who happens to be black, so you'd think she'd be very humane with this person. She's taken that for herself, exactly this name. She used this, Confessions of Female Founders, over a year ago, building up her own business. And she's got it. So I doubt if this young woman can actually sue her or say you can't do this. But I think, you know, you should know better than that, actually.
Well, it does depend if the lady hasn't trademarked it, it's open for all.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
If she's not breaking any rules, then, you know, I guess, you know, as long as she's doing things.
Well, I think
that
there's
are
a general
fair.
feeling that whoever uses it first, I mean, all the other things, as ever, she's had to do something. And with Love by Meghan, that was for American Riviera Orchard, which she'd also taken, and she couldn't use that. I think she doesn't look at the detail, you see. And the trouble with this latest stuff that she's doing is she hasn't got the okay with that because she hasn't given them the detail enough. So she might lose all that. So she's making all these things, telling us all about it, very excited. Well, tell us how business women should really be. But she can't get them in the shops. You know, none of the things that she wanted, none of the teas, not hard to make tea, but anyway, that's all right. And jam. And she thinks her jam's much better than the King's. Well, the King doesn't take money for it. He gives it all to charity. And she thinks his is much too sweet. Honestly, you don't have to do that. But it's not on the shelf yet. So she rushes. She doesn't wait until she's actually got things. Because if people are seeing you and they think, oh, that sounds great, I'm going to buy it. And you write it down. But if you think, well, it might come out in a couple of months, why should you wait? It's boring then. You don't want to do that. So there's no sort of organisation.
Doesn't seem... it just feels a bit all over the place. But look, we'll see. We'll see what happens with all of that. But Harry's visa documents are being released, but they seem a little bit sketchy. How much have we got of what the documents actually say? A lot of it has been hidden.
Well, 80 pages it is altogether, but most of them have been wiped out. So they've said that they don't think it's fair on him because it could harm him and harass him. Now, sure he can, but actually the thing is that whether he's told the truth, and people want to know that, but he'd put in the spare where he says which drugs he's taken, you know, he's not supposed to have special dealing with the USA because he's no longer a working member of the royal family. So I think that people are going to carry on and try and get a bit more, because there was almost nothing that said anything about him. They said he didn't have any special offers. He didn't actually do anything wrong, but we don't know that. My feeling about the drugs is that who else let him keep that in his book? I'm sure Meghan read it because she would have wanted to see what she was in, if nothing else, what pages she was in. So she didn't say, oh, be careful there. The publisher didn't say, oh, be careful there. The lawyer who would read it through, as every lawyer does on your book, he didn't say that. Now, or the person who wrote it for him didn't say that. Or Harry said, yes, I want it there. If he said, yes, I want it there, I'll show them. He deserves it. If he doesn't, I do feel that somebody else should have told him or said something to him to help him about that. But it seems that actually, as a non-working royal, it doesn't matter. He's going to sail through. And I don't think people like that.
No, they don't like it. And there have been many people who have, Kate Moss, one person who ended up with issues with visas and things like that because of things that have been revealed many years previous. And I'm sure there was an issue with Nigella Lawson as well. She couldn't get in either. And quite a few other well-known big names that couldn't get in because of things in their past. And it seems very wrong that he should be exonerated or allowed to be above the law, even though he might be the son of a royal. That's irrelevant. But what about William? William's in Estonia now, isn't he?
Yes, he's going to Estonia just for a few days. Now, he's just wonderful. He's actually doing things that are powerful, and we would all respect that. So he's there, and he's talking to the people who are there to help any fighting that's going on. And I thought it was very dangerous, but apparently it's not. It's a nice, quiet place. But there is a group of people who are there ready to fight if necessary. It is right on the corner of the country, and it's very, very difficult, I think, for them to be okay. But, I meant to come to Russia. There's right very, very close. So if things turn really nasty, as they seem to be a bit, they need to bring him home very quickly. His uncle, the Duke of Edinburgh, he's been there too. He had no trouble at all. But I think you want to save William because he's such a good man and he's got such a lovely wife, and you don't really want to put him into any danger. But he'll be all dressed up in the right military clothing because he is the colonel-in-chief of the Mexican regiment, and he will go there as that person and actually give them more hope and encouragement.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he? What would we do without William and Catherine? Well, listen, Angela Levin, thank you very much for joining me. This has been Nana Akua for GBN Originals. And don't forget, you can subscribe to the GBN News channel for more.